I was frightened. I was 4 and 10, same as you are now. I wasn't ready to be Queen of the Seven Kingdoms. But it was my duty. And in time, I came to understand I had to earn my inheritance.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing another House of the Dragon Spotlight video. This one is about Rhaenyra. We're going to discuss her portrayal on the show by Millie Alcock and Emma Darcy, compare it to the source material in Fire and Blood, and then look ahead to what we can expect for the character in Season 2. I've done a number of these Spotlight videos already. I'll link the playlist for them down below. Now let's dive in. After the Great Council of 101 flashback that showed Viserys being chosen to succeed Jaehaerys to the throne, our first look at King's Landing was of Rhaenyra on Syrax as she flew above the city. I love this scene, because after the disaster that was the final season of Game of Thrones, there was such a fresh feel and vibrancy in the way that it was presented. I thought Millie Alcock did a phenomenal job playing the younger version of Rhaenyra. She's a big reason why the show was able to win over those hesitant about trusting another series in Martin's universe. In the early episodes, it was Rhaenyra, Viserys, and Daemon that got people invested in the story. Another factor, I think, was her friendship with Alicent, which was dramatically altered when Viserys decided to take Alicent as his second wife. This, as I mentioned in my Alicent video, was a big departure from the books, where Alicent is 9 years older than Rhaenyra. And the change here, I believe, was a big benefit for the show because of the added tension and drama. It was this scene during episode 2 that Millie Alcock's portrayal really won me over, when she went to Dragonstone to take the egg back from Daemon. When you watch it, the whole sequence is so smooth and seamless, but it's not as easy as it looks. In episode 1, Daemon was quickly established as a formidable figure, from his actions as commander of the Gold Cloaks of the City Watch, the determination, toughness, and skill he demonstrated during the tourney, and his independence and bluntness when dealing with the small council. So you need a strong screen presence to believably portray someone that Daemon would respect and eventually yield to in this instance, and Millie Alcock pulled it off to perfection. This is one of my favorite scenes of the season. Alcock did an excellent job of showing an array of emotions, from the deep hurt at learning her best friend was marrying her father, to the strength of standing up not only to Daemon, but her own father too. She also displayed savviness when discussing the arrangement of their marriage with Rhaenor. Changing the actor playing a main character isn't easy, because we're invested in them. It's a higher bar than it is for other characters, because we're largely seeing this story through their eyes. And that's why, for me anyway, I initially had a little difficulty adjusting to the change from Millie to Emma Darcy. The time skip from the younger to older versions of Rhaenyra and Alicent was the most jarring one. This wasn't an easy transition for the show, and I felt it was its weakest juncture. And it doesn't have anything to do with the actor or even the writing. But when you're so absorbed in a story like this, the passage of time leaves a lot of questions. I addressed this a bit in my last Spotlight video on Corlys. It was awkward there when he disappeared for 2 episodes after Laenor's death, only to return after spending years away from a wife he loved. And while I think ultimately the show pulled all of this off, for me anyway, it was a bit of a tight squeeze. When I read Stephen King's It, I had a hard time adjusting at first, even in the novel, from the older to the younger characters. It took some time to navigate. And I will say, when it came to the film version of it, I never really connected as much when they switched from the kids to the adults. But I don't have that much of a difficulty here. I'm mentioning all of this just to give my perspective of the change from Millie to Emma. One of my favorite scenes from Emma Darcy's portrayal is when Rhaenyra pressed Daemon to marry her. It felt like we came full circle from the scene on the bridge when she got the egg back from Daemon, It demonstrated that she still has power over him. Rhaenyra is the one person that he'll bend to. Another pivotal moment was the second childbirth scene with Aemma as Rhaenyra, which was a brutal sequence that demonstrated her strength. I enjoyed the scenes also between Rhaenyra and her children, showing the maternal side beneath that tougher exterior. It's a nice contrast, too, to the dysfunctional relationship that Alicent has with her children, and is also a parallel to the caring approach Viserys took with Rhaenyra. The one out-of-place scene was when Daemon wrapped his hand around her throat. This just didn't work for me from what we'd seen from these characters. I addressed all of that in more depth in my Daemon Spotlight video. So what can we expect in Season 2?
Return on Dragonback.
We saw how difficult the burdens of ruling were for Viserys in peaceful times. Rhaenyra faces a realm divided. Even if she is seemingly more capable of ruling than her father was, there are no easy choices when you're immersed in war. Everything you do is questioned more harshly. In the Season 1 finale, Rhaenys remarked to Corlys that she was impressed by Rhaenyra's restraint, that she was trying to keep Westeros from plunging into conflict when her advisors were pushing for war. Now, though, with Lucerys dead, it'll be interesting to see how her approach changes and if she'll pursue harsher measures. While there could be some disagreement in tactics between her and Daemon, it's also possible she'll see more eye to eye with him now. I also want to see how she handles her children. She was good with Jason and Lucerys going off as envoys, but will she be more protective now and reticent about them being in harm's way? One thing I'd like to see is more of Rhaenyra and Syrax. They did a better job with the younger version of the character, but we only had this quick scene after Emma Darcy took over the role, and the focus here was Rhaenyra's confrontation with Otto. The bond between a Targaryen and their dragon is an important part of the story. They did an outstanding job with Daemon and Caraxes throughout the show, and one of the best sequences in the entire season was when Aemond bonded with Vhagar. This gave even more impact to what was to come. But with the adult Rhaenyra, they came up short. So hope we get a scene early on with her and her dragon. I'm interested in hearing what others think about how Rhaenyra was portrayed on the show. Did it take a bit of adjusting for you too when they switched actors? And what are you looking forward to most in Season 2?
We cut off the west, surround King's Landing with the dragons, and we could have every greenhead mounted on spikes before the fucking moon turns.
If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button. And if you're interested in more on House of the Dragon, listen to Caraxes and subscribe. I want to thank everyone for watching, and I'll see you soon.